If the lights go out in a prolonged grid down event and the fuel trucks stop rolling, all cars will slowly grind to a halt. It will be very beneficial to have 19th century technology at your disposal. The horse was a defining feature of the North American landscape into the 20th century, and it's also a staple in nearly every post-apocalyptic movie. So in the very least, I had to get somewhat acquainted with these quadrupedal companions, because you just never know. I've been thinking a lot about grid-down travel in utility vehicles. I've probably tried every method of transport, from e-bike, snowmobile, quad, jet ski, kayak, 4x4, and even an EV. But I've yet to try a horse. After trying horseback riding and learning the bare bones basics, I want to share my thoughts on whether or not this is a good fit for me personally, whether I'll be exploring it further, and just some general thoughts about horses and preparedness.
Alright guys, now here's the deal. When the shit hits the fan, the gasoline's gonna run out. So what you gonna do when you gotta get your ass out of Dodge? Well, the answer is simple. It's got 4 legs, it's got a long tail, they kinda stink, and they eat hay all the time. Now apparently I've just been informed that this is in fact an English riding school. So I've just been informed that apparently this is not a place to lop around like it's the Old West. We are going to be mastering the equestrian arts today in the tradition of the English and the great King Charles, under the jurisdiction and the auspices and rules and regulations as laid out by the great Justin Trudeau. Today, I will be riding these fine stallions in the most disciplined and polite of manners, not deviating, not engaging in any vulgarities or obscenities like those cowboys. Now, let's get to it, shall we?
Now to start off, the trainer had me go and try to catch a horse that I was going to ride.
That's Basil over there. That's the horse. I gotta go break this horse. It's completely wild. Just kidding.
What was supposed to be the challenging part, that is, the roping and catching of the horse, wasn't that challenging at all.
So we've gotten this close to Basil, and now it's time to lasso him and bring him home to mama.
I was very surprised, and I think the trainer was too, at how well the horse took to me. I think it helped that me and the trainer appeared to have a good rapport and were quite jovial upon our approach. We weren't approaching aggressively, and we would periodically stop and chat before getting close to the horse just to get them comfortable with our presence. There was nearly zero apprehension on the part of the horse which we selected, which immediately piqued my interest in what I was about to do even more. The horse that I rode on, Basil, was considered a warm blood. This is a middle-of-the-road size horse. The trainer advised that horses should typically be 4 times the size of the rider. These warm blood type horses are generally an intermediate breed that can do both sport and farm work. They're a good all-around horse, so I'm told. In contrast, cold bloods are bigger and bred for strength and endurance, whereas hot bloods are smaller and bred for speed.
Gently down. Good job. Well done.
All right.
Shoulder.
Chin up, eyes down. I might say, it's a delightful day, isn't it?
Now, why would a person, especially a prepper, ever want a horse? Well, one of the main reasons is that fuel runs out. And even if you did have grass to convert biodiesel, it's much easier if the mode of commuting you rely on can simply process the grass in its stomach. Horses, mules, donkeys, and any equestrian species all run purely on grass, and this can be a great advantage in a situation where the gas pumps run dry. Horses can also go off-road. In fact, they can go many places that ATVs cannot. This is not to say that horses don't have their limits also in terms of where they can go, but there's numerous types of terrain that would be impossible to traverse even with the best ATVs on the market. A horse is also relatively quiet. Unlike the loud combustion engine of an ATV, they have a natural sound that blends into the environment. Horses can also be used for a variety of different types of work. Around the farm, they can be used to haul or pull things. They can be used to carry large loads. They can be used for transport, from going one place to another. Before the automobile, the horse and covered wagon was one of the only ways that people could get around, aside trains. And one of the final benefits of a horse, and this might sound harsh, but in times of famine you can actually consume the horse. Many of the famines that have happened throughout history were accompanied by people having to resort to doing this very thing. As difficult of a decision as this might be, a horse will certainly taste better than a car. I am not naive to the fact that there are numerous challenges to raising a horse. Just like any good thing, it requires a constant investment of time and attention to maintain. It's easy to say that I want a horse, but you can't really have a horse unless you have an off-grid life in the first place. Otherwise, you're going to be keeping it in somebody else's stable, and that could even require a greater commitment of time, as you have to go there routinely to maintain the horse. They require a lot of maintenance. They can potentially require veterinary care. They can be somewhat expensive, although compared to a modern vehicle, not so much. You'll have to provide them the right kind of shelter to endure all the seasons, and keeping them fed throughout the winter can also be challenging, and it's just more work that you're going to have to do in the summer months. Now, unfortunately, for legal reasons, in this video, I wasn't able to ride without a helmet, but I do think I got a good taste of what it would be like to own my own horse. And I must say that I really took to liking the horse that I was riding. This horse that I was riding was 17 years old. When I asked the owner how much the horse cost, she said around $10,000 to $12,000. Canadian, of course. Horses can live up to 30 years, she says, but because of his age, it's not the kind of horse that people would tend to want to buy. I certainly know that I'll be heading out to see Basil once again because it was a great experience, and eventually I want to be able to ride without a helmet. This brings me to the last consideration when horseback riding is the potential for accidents. While automobiles, when they were first invented, posed all kinds of hazards, riding horses can be equally unsafe. Especially when you're a beginner, the horse can get spooked, it can throw you off. In fact, it threw off my daughter here, as you can see, when she was learning how to ride a pony. So these things can and will happen, and you have to be prepared for it. I'm quite certain that with proper care and attention, this is something that can mostly be avoided, but it's just another thing to consider. Let me know your thoughts on horses and preparedness in the comments section below. Have you had experience riding horses? What sort of things should people consider if they're planning on getting one? And what other utilities might they provide for a self-reliant lifestyle? Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Canadian Prepper out.
The best way to support this channel is to support yourself by gearing up at CanadianPreparedness.com, where you'll find high-quality survival gear at the best prices, no junk, and no gimmicks. Use discount code PREPPINGGEAR for 10% off. Don't forget, the strong survive, but the prepared thrive. Stay safe.